Well, went here. More on Misery Loves Company and the redemption of Eros. Great love advice from the great lover. Well, let's not stay there too long, okay? But we should have fun about this. I've been trying in the beginning of this to establish a vocabulary that lets us see into the spiritual side of love. So we worked with the cross of love, selfless love above, erotic and sensual love below, and to the sides of the horizontal aspect of the cross we had nurturing love and comradeship. And of course, in the course of a day, in the life, say, of a couple, all of those aspects of love manifest themselves according to the situation. Now we also added what you can call the three-body structure, the idea of spirit, soul, and body, because we want to have a sense of the relationship between the inwardness and the outwardness. And I want to elaborate on that a little bit. And I also want to correct something I said in the last video, which I got the basic idea out, but I forgot sort of something. And this was this wisdom from the East, or the cultural Mid-East, you might want to say. It might be Sufi or something. And basically it said, guard your thoughts, for thoughts will become speech. Guard your speech, for speech will become deeds. Guard your deeds, for deeds will become character. And guard your character, for character will become destiny. And that's worth a lot of thought. Now, what goes on? Well, what's a situation in which we find ourselves? I mean, last time I was talking a little bit about selfless love and thinking about the other person, and recognizing that who they were was their deeds and their character, and that when we, if you want to warm a woman up from the inside out, you need to engage in acts in which she becomes aware that you recognize her, you see her. Now women already do that. That's what attracts them to men. Men are attracted to the physical, but women are attracted to the inside. And of course, one of the things they want to do is they want to be your mother, and which means they have this impulse to correct any defects they observe. Okay? And one of the things that happens in relationships is, let's call it fighting or disagreement. All right? And I want to talk about those things because those things are very important to understand. They're very common dynamics. Every relationship has these things. They go on in all kinds of situations. These are universal realities in a sense. It isn't just in an intimate relationship. But what we're doing here with the redemption of Eros is we're trying to add what you might call mystery or spiritual knowledge to our understanding of love, and to appreciate that we are created to be able to love. The human organism is a vehicle which is designed to love. Now that's a big thing. That's not a little thing. And there's a lot to learn about it. And so right now I want to start to begin to talk about what you might call ordinary conflict. And some of it, of course, is just built into the way that men and women are different. One of the things that can happen is a woman will, when I was in counseling once in a relationship, the counselor said, what a woman wants is a wife. And he wasn't saying that literally true, but he said basically that when you get around the home situation, she treats the home situation from a certain point of view. And she would like to have a partner that treats it from the same point of view. But the fact that the man doesn't treat the home situation from that same point of view is kind of an incidental thing to the differences between men and women in general, and also regarding something that I'm going to talk about called antipathy and sympathy. Now, the human feeling life is full of lots of kinds of feelings. And the one closest to the surface and the most immediate, and concerning which we tend to have the least amount of consciousness, is antipathy and sympathy. Now, how does antipathy work? Well, antipathy is you don't like something. You'd like to get away from it, or you'd like it to get away from you. And we walk through life, and you can't go through a day without experiencing antipathy. Maybe you're on your way to work and some guy cuts you off and you want to give him the finger. And it's immediate, you're sitting in your car, you asshole! I just did that the other day, and that's antipathy. We didn't like it. Okay? Now, antipathy is a kind of intelligence, but it can also run away with us. So we're going to talk about that too. Sympathy is similar. The danger with sympathy is we can be oversympathetic, and the classic cliche about that is love is blind. What happens is people fall in love, or they fall in like, or whatever it is, and especially if they're immature, they don't notice the things that they don't like. They sort of brush them aside, and they have too much sympathy. They're totally into, oh, you're just fine, everything's perfect, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, And then the honeymoon's over. And all of a sudden the people wake up and they realize they got involved with somebody who has the dark side. They have things I don't like. And if you want to get into the shadow, the literal psychological, spiritual structure in the human soul in which this darkness thrives to a certain extent, then you want to go to my real anthroposophy material and do the stuff on the shadow. Now, of course, all of this stuff on my videos is interrelated to each other. It sort of cross-fertilizes. I can't, I'm not going to here go into the shadow material, even though I can talk about it a little bit when I talk about antipathy and sympathy. So what happens, a couple, they get up in the morning and the woman's running around. She's got the children at the kitchen table. She's trying to feed them. And you see these things on TV all the time, the dramas about these things. And the guy comes in and he's totally involved in, he's thinking about work or whatever the heck he's thinking of. He's not thinking about what she's thinking about. She wants him to be a wife at that point. She wants him to help the kids sit down at the table and get fed and so on and so forth. And he's thinking about work and what he's got to do and whether he's going to be able to make his quota of sales this week and all the stuff that's bothering him. And she starts to nag him about what he did or didn't do the other day, and he forgot this, and will he remember to go to the grocery store on the way home and get that? And we all know these little dialogues that go on. And the driver behind all these things is our likes and dislikes, which are just below the surface of our consciousness. We really don't notice them. And part of the whole thing with the redemption of Eros is to bring things out of the subconscious or semi-conscious into consciousness so that we can see them. And then when we see them, we do a couple of things which are interesting. One, we take away their power to a certain degree, and we also learn better how to love. Got to stop for a while.